Welcome to the Business Concern Podcast. The topic, Taking Action. The critical mass in the planning sequence, values, goals, action, and revision, is taking action. How often is this part of the sequence thwarted? As we know from experience, rarely do things go as planned. Yet this phase of the planning sequence is where the plan proves successful or requires revision. Something unexpected happens. The communication is flawed. The execution of the action is wrong. The consequence of the action is not what was expected. But we owe it to the plan to execute the plan as well as possible. If we do this, if we do our very best to execute the plan, it gives us the opportunity to look at what we've done and say, how could we have done it better? How could we improve? And in this way, act in an increasingly effective way to realize the goals of the business. After articulating values and setting goals, extremely hard work, how do we honor that work commitment by carrying out actions to support the goals? The action plan, the process of determining the acts to be done to reach the goal, as with the setting of the goals, should be the product of group decision making. Much of this starts with the productive and operational elements of the business, understanding and being motivated by the goals. Often we see managers simply telling producers and operational personnel what action to take without stating what goals are to be attained. When this happens, changes are often viewed as simply more work without apparent reason and regarded as unnecessary. Where productive and operational personnel know the goals, the deficiencies of the contemplated action apparent to them, but not so apparent to policymakers, can be identified and corrections made to the action plan. Ideally, personnel from operations and production should be a part of the decision-making group. It's often the person who carries out the action who can see a defect in the action plan that others do not see. The method or format of communicating the goals to the group creating the action plan is important. It should support a dialogue where the operating and producing functions become aware of the goal and then participate in the formulation of the action to be taken. The statement of the action to be taken should relate to realizing the relevant goal. Therefore, the format of the plan should communicate the goal, the recipient's comments, and document all of that for all involved to see. Where the business plan format is dynamic, the communication is interactive, and the entire process is communicated and documented. This is important with the action plan and even more important in the revision plan process. In earlier sessions, we covered articulating values and setting goals. In this session, we are discussing the action plan. When things go in an unexpected or inappropriate way, we then enter the revision stage of planning. More about that next session. As we look at the stages of planning, the importance of communicating through a dynamic format becomes apparent. The dynamic format being a simple spreadsheet or a sophisticated platform of group interaction software such as Teams supports interactive communication and documents communication for all involved to see. With a dynamic format used correctly, the planning process can render quality decisions resulting in actions realizing the goals of the business. My name is Rick Rebusel. I'm the Principal Consultant of Business Transition Consulting. Thanks for listening.